several offices that has made comment that they would like to move out of the courthouse, that we move. So with that, Jerry's been working on some stuff. He's going to present what he's done so we all can hear it. We haven't heard it, Mike and I, but he's been working. We've all three talked to the office. They emailed us, and we've talked to them all. They got some concerns they'd like to move. We're trying to provide a better environment for our workers and a better workplace. Jerry, you want to?
Yeah, first I'd like to start off with Ken, Jay, Mike. Kevin has a lot more county experience than the rest of us put together. I'm going to make a statement here from where we were to where we're at right now. If there's any misconstrued facts, please let them out. Let me know right away. Start out with previous commissioners had a plan to build a new building to the west of the existing courthouse and leave our courthouse standing. After many public hearings and much discussion, the public was absolutely against that plan. And at that time, evidently, they had no alternative plan. So fast forward a little bit, we had an ADA lawsuit filed against us about the courthouse elevator. Kenny and I, came in office in January 2017. With enormous help of Jeff Johnston, this job, the new elevator, has been completed and has been working very successfully. In January, we, the commission, individually gathered information from the public as well as elected officials and department heads. We submitted this information to Jeff Johnson. He compiled the Pulaski County Government Building Renovation Project rules. And I think the council member each got it. Part of this. It addressed all the problems we are facing, such as security, inmate transfer, fire suppression, ADA requirements, interior and exterior repairs. The sad part is that for the most part, the only thing grasped from this whole document was tear the courthouse down, make a parking lot. I have asked the city courthouse people several times to get a detailed information what they would like to see done. On January 14th of 2019, there's two entries they thought they could take care of. One was select a single point of entry, lock all the doors so they exit only. My question would be which door, and also would that mean the inmates, workers, as well as the public come in the same door? And it also said put a desk or chair near the door and have an officer present for full time during regular office hours. My question back to that, do we just need security during regular office hours, or do we need security continuously like the commissioners meeting tonight? And then they brought up fire safety, a whole bunch of literature on fire safety, 20 smoke detectors, need the part number, comes in 2 packs for about $55. This can all be done for $900. Well, thanks to me and our building inspector, excuse me, fire and building code enforcement inspection report order. This courthouse was inspected November 29th of 2018. There's an annual inspection, and the inspection status says complied. So that was a couple things I guess I wanted to bring up to start with. Like Kenny said, I think each and every one of us commissioners talk to individual offices, one-on-one, elected officials, department heads. I come up with a few plans on loan. If you want to take one and pass it around, that's something I've come up with that would possibly save millions of dollars. Oops.
Well, that's all right.
So part of the office move, possible office move, was the help of Terry and Gary from the highway department. We measured a community room out there, 60 by 60, which would be 3,600 square foot. The two bathrooms were combined 16 by 8 foot, which would be 128 square foot. And if we would build onto the addition or the lean-to the east, to the rest of the wall would gain another 1,800 square foot. So we would have a total of 5,400 square foot minus 128 square foot that includes the bathrooms. If 4 offices would be moved out there, that would leave each office square foot 1,318 feet. And according to Doug Hoover, building inspector, the minimum, if I remember right, the minimum required for a home in Pulaski County is 950 square feet. There's ample parking out at the highway in front. There's 41 parking spots, including 2 handicap spots. There is also room for a minimum addition of at least 10 more. I come up with some drawbacks on that idea. That's where we vote now. There's no storm shelters, and other organizations use that community center, which they would have to find a different location. Smoke alarms out there could be installed easily. Fire suppression system, I have not researched that yet. I don't know on an existing building like that it would be grandfathered in.
Do we have city water out there, Jerry, you know?
Yeah,
That's city water, it'd be a lot easier if you got city water.
And I individually,
there's well, there's water goes out front, but there is a well. We can find pipe the city water in there, but the city water don't come in there, does it? There's a well there, but the city water goes to
Goes by, but I don't know if it's hooked up or not.
If it goes by, it would be cheaper to hook into the city
Yeah.
water.
Okay.
Goes all the way to the
talk-
state highway.
We're talking about details of a plan that we're just,
I'm throwing ideas out. I want to give the square footage and that's yes.
okay.
Yes,
I have an alternate suggestion when you're finished.
that's fine. That's no problem at all. Circuit court and clerk's office should be under the same roof. The justice center would be clerk of this, both courts, clerk's office, prosecutor, probation would be under one roof. This would solve the courthouse security as well as the inmate traffic back and forth. Instead of building out, possibly we build up on the north end with 2 flat spots. I talked to Sheriff Jeff on site now. That would be doable.
I think so.
What we're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. The courthouse would remain standing.
So just stop you a second here. So basically what you're saying is the circuit court clerk's office could move to the justice center with no addition to the justice center?
Not out. We would have to go up.
Go up with it?
Go up and not out. I'm just throwing ideas.
Why would we have to add on to the Justice Center? Because it was designed for the circuit court to be there already, to make room for the clerk and the prosecutor to stay in the same building then?
I think we might have to do an addition.
What about probation? That'd be a big concern. I think probation needs to be with the circuit superior courts.
They would stay.
They would stay.
They're already at the justice center?
Yes, they would stay there. Yeah, they're already. And then, my final thoughts were the courthouse would remain standing. If the historical society or any other investor would want to purchase it, to preserve it, put shops in it, or any other ideas they might have, this would be the best of both worlds. if we would do something like this, the courthouse would still be standing, and we would save millions of dollars. So I guess, viewpoint.
I have an alternate suggestion, that with the understanding that people really need to get up out of the basement, that we move the assessor's office into this room, we move the surveyor possibly to either the annex or the highway department. We
What he's
meet
got
at-
on there is moved to the annex.
I will, it's right on there.
It's right on there, moved to the annex.
Okay, well, I'm
That's
saying either, but in my suggestion, I'm saying either, okay? Because you have to put the IT people somewhere, again, you have to move them again. And that's fine, I don't care, I don't care. And then,
I've already, not to interrupt you, I've already talked to Matt on the move. He's
okay,
on board with that.
Okay.
Where would Matt go to? That's one of my questions.
Possibly the highway garage, the Masonic Lodge. He does not need the office.
No, we've got 4 buildings, we might as well utilize them.
okay. And then, as we move these people up out of the basement, then we listen to what Historic Landmarks, Indiana Landmarks has to say about working with us on preserving the courthouse.
That's entirely up to the council.
That-
You people write the check.
Well, we have them here tonight, and they could talk to us tonight.
Jerry, do you have any idea at all, just a rough estimate on what we'd have to do some modifications to the highway garage, and then we'd have to do some modifications to the Justice Center if we're gonna go up with the.
I would say, what did they cost Fulton County just to do their sidewalks?
$500,000 to do the sidewalks.
I would,
They got a deal. You guys been to Fulton County? Have you guys toured that courthouse?
yeah, I've been there several times.
Did you tour it lately when they were doing that work? Their issue is drainage. Our issue here is drainage. If you guys would commit the $1.5 million we already took from the taxpayers to repairing this building, this wouldn't be even an issue.
Would it,
First place, why do you want to move the assessor up here? You've got so many people coming in and out.
So that we
of
can
there.
work
Better
on it
the
and get it
highway,
completed.
Where they could go in, your older people go in and out of there. You want something where it's going to be comfortable for them and handicap accessible. I think
This
that's a
building
good
is now
idea.
handicap accessible, is my understanding.
What is it?
This building is now accessible.
yeah, but Kathy,
But- So I'm gonna get back to your,
Okay,
what
I'm
your
sorry.
plan was.
Yeah, sorry.
But do you have, I guess what I'm just looking at what it would cost to do this, because it doesn't sound like it's gonna cost all that much. I think we can probably renovate the highway garage pretty reasonably.
I would say the renovation of the highway garage would definitely cost less.
300, maybe 300,
Well,
400,000 tops.
It'd definitely be less than the sidewalk repair, the steps, and the railings, and also the retaining wall. That highway
And
garage-
then the annex, or the Justice Center, then probably the biggest cost would be increasing, going up with that.
That would be a much larger cost than the highway
So
garage.
now
When you talk about the cost of doing this plan, I understand it keeps the outgoing costs lower, but then there's the cost to the community of having this historic building lay empty. I can tell you right now, the Historical Society is not going to get this building. We don't want this building.
Why not?
Even if, we don't have millions of dollars in our back pockets
We
to
don't
take care of
either.
this.
And why should our
Actually-
taxpayers pay it?
Cumulative capital fund has $1.5 million in it. Not one penny of that has been spent by you 3 commissioners in the last 2 years on this building on repair.
Well, that's because you
For the last
council members.
35 years.
I took office in
Well,
January.
you did not you, but because the council
Commissioners have not
members,
spent
you
one
seated on the elevator and said
penny.
that.
Not one penny of the $1.5 million for repair for this building.
We spent over $500,000 on an elevator.
You spent. So you could have spent $50,000 and got a $500,000 elevator like Stark County did. But
And
you
how-
chose not to pursue the grant.
Federal judges.
Did you talk to the judge?
What did he tell us? We either done it or it was $275,000 fine.
I'd like to see that in writing.
I would
I would
like
like to see an estimate, just a rough engineer's estimate of what it would cost to go up to the Justice Center.
$1.5 million.
Just get an idea where.
You guys are sitting on.
Let's get back
That's what I think.
to do what
What's
you
your
got.
plan? Let's discuss your plan while you got it on the table here. I'd just like to see, just some estimates on what it costs to do I could probably put together an estimate on the highway garage. I just did a real similar project for Fort County. And they put offices down in there, they put them in their basement, in the Justice Center. We'd be basically doing the same sort of renovation to our highway department. And it ran them around $350,000 to do the offices, and I had the plan, but we were looking about the same amount of offices. I'd say we could probably get it done and do it nice
And do it nice.
for $350,000.
Gary, did you, square footage compare from what they have now to what would be out there? Will there be
No.
more room, less room?
I did not go into each office and measure them, no.
I didn't know.
Especially tax time,
Right.
pretty busy place.
I just wondered if they were gonna gain space, lose space.
But I know as far as, excuse me, the assessor's office, we would definitely gain space, definitely.
Can I throw in an idea real quick?
Speak up for hearing.
Pardon me? Tim Leatrick owns out here with the license branch and such. Tim told me he's offered before, and I talked to him about it. He said he would build the county a brand new building, supply janitors, all the way from toilet paper to cleaning the place at the rate of $20 per square foot per year. So on a 5,000 square foot, what you're talking, that would be $100,000 a year to rent a brand new building, completely established with as many offices you need in that 5,000. I mean, I don't want to act like I'm throwing a wrench in the whole idea. I'm just throwing another idea out there on a brand spanking new building with.
Well, we've already got 4 buildings, why don't we utilize them?
I'm just throwing an idea.
Can I say something real quick, John? I want to ask you a serious question. Okay, when the proposal that was given by Jeff Johnston in December 10th, 2018, it said demolition. Were there any other plans given to the commissioners before that by Roland Design? As far as options to do with this courthouse, other than demolish this courthouse, were there any other options given?
That would have been the end result.
Were there any other options that Roland Design came up with?
This is the one that was compiled, Brian. But anyway.
Was that plan B? Weren't there plans A, B, and C that you guys were presented? So someone had to choose A, B, C, or D. Who chose that?
Irregardless, we're past that. So Jay, you're gonna handle the county highway?
Well, I don't know that I can handle it. I guess my point was that they put in similar offices in their building, and they did it very nice. I mean, you're talking, they did it very well, very nice job. They ran, that included a server for the computer system. Everything is all hooked together, Wi-Fi and all that good stuff there. I'm not sure how all that would, maintain here what they have there. You got to keep on, we have computer access and internet access. That was all taken care of with their plan, and they did it for $350,000. Now that you get into a little bit more money, you have to go into a second floor, and the roof will have to be changed. There are a lot of issues that would be, you have to be done at the Justice Center to do that. And I will say that, we did that plan 3 years ago. When we added on to the courthouse and got the courthouse all the way up to snuff, we tried to do the air conditioning and everything else. It was going to be a real nice system, but it was going to cost $7.8 million. That's where we were at that time. I mean, the renditions for the plan are still out there. I'm sure you guys have seen. We did do the trust work. That was necessary evil that had to be done right away. We were looking at $7.8 million to do, and that included the elevator and some other things. So I don't know what that would be now, but that would be option A, I think. So I think the taxpayers didn't want to pay that money at the time. That's what it was about.
Okay, so we can look into the cost of this, but there is no reason for us to move so quickly to abandon this courthouse without listening to the people who are going to pay for an architect to come in here and do a study, and they may be able to come up with and help us find funds to do it. There is no reason to abandon this building so quickly. This may end up being the plan that we go with. I can't imagine that would be anything that this community would want. But in the meantime, if you want to look at the cost for those figures, why not take a listen to Landmarks and see what they have to say? They are here tonight.
Well, do you have my reading?
Why do we wanna keep heating and cooling a 100-year-old building? It's not economical at all.
Let's listen to Landmarks and see what they have to say.
Do they have their thing ready? Can we hear it?
They are here tonight.
listen.
Within the last 8
I'm
years,
ready.
a gentleman was invited to come up here. He did a free study. He did a free study on the economy of heating and cooling. It was called stupid at the time. Do you think it's stupid now?
Well, there's no way you're gonna lower the ceiling.
It was a free study, it was dollar for dollar.
Building
Our savings
to
was dollar for
maintain.
dollar. Do you think it's stupid?
Scott, do you have any? Now
Save taxpayers' money?
I,
Save the courthouse?
well, a couple things that I have is, when the Justice Center was built, like I said, it was designed to have both courts in it. I think we need to pull up that paperwork and look at what the footprint of that looked like and see, does it still, would it still work today? I mean, that's, because that was a plan back, what, in 1996 when they built that building, I believe? That was the plan then, and part of that was to do with one point, keeping the inmates separated from the public and all. So that's already been designed. I don't know that anybody, correct me if I'm wrong, has anybody looked at any of that paperwork to look at what that footprint looked like?
That's what became the probation and
Yeah.
prosecutor's office,
Right, but originally it was designed where, and maybe probation needs to stay over there, I can see a point to that, but the prosecutor was not designed to be into that building.
I
So,
think it'd be a good idea personally, but.
well, yeah, I'm just saying, that might be something we need to look at what the footprint looked like, and then look at, and I agree with the fact that I've said that since I was commissioner, and I still say it today, that we have a lot of footprint in buildings already that we can better utilize that space for people that need small offices into small offices, but people that need more room into larger offices and stuff. And that's not talking about demolishing the courthouse or getting rid of it, or even removing everybody from the courthouse. But we talked back in 2008 through 2012 about emptying the basement out because it's just not a convenient space for the public to be coming in and out of and all. That was talked about back then. So, I think there's some merit to them two sides, emptying the basement and, looking at how we can utilize the Justice Center to keep inmate traffic away from public traffic. I also agree, though, with the fact that we have Landmarks here to give another viewpoint, and I think it would be irresponsible of us not to listen to them and see what they have to say. We may not go with that
I don't
plan.
even think that's in dispute. I think we all plan to have
Right.
them give their
So-
presentation tonight.
Yeah, I agree
Your
with
plan,
that.
does that include getting Superior and Circuit Court in the?
Justice Center.
Okay, that's
Then-
that's
But-
definitely necessity also.
My other comment that I want to make is, and, I understand the cost of renovating the courthouse. I understand the cost of heating, the courthouse and to maintain the courthouse. The only concern that I have out of the whole thing is part of the plans that have been proposed and been talked about is, if the courthouse stays standing, the county, we have to understand, the county's going to be responsible for this building until somebody does something with it. I truly think, looking at as many storefronts as we have empty in the town now, that we're not gonna have shops at our courthouse. That's probably not gonna happen. We're not Lake County. We're not gonna develop it like that. I think that's a reality, and we need to understand that. The other reality is, as long as the county owns this building, we have to maintain it. We can't let it fall down. Otherwise, we're gonna be cited by the building inspector and told to tear it down anyhow. So I think them are just points that we need to, through our discussions, we need to keep in mind and have how are we going to address that when them time comes, because that it's just a point. And I'm not saying A, B, or C. I believe there are some very smart reasons to renegotiate our offices within the county. I've thought that for a long time. That's just my opinion. But anyhow, that's me and my soapbox.
One other thing before Indiana Landmarks, if we could, I did talk to Sheriff Rich Wine. I talked to each individual elected officials, all the department head in the courthouse. I talked to folks over at the annex. I talked to Sherry over at the Masonic building. For the most part, outside of one elected official, one appointed official, they was in favor of the move.
Well, I have a letter here that's from Janet Keller. She wasn't able to attend tonight. She apologized for not being able to attend. I briefly planned, but my daughter's had an award ceremony tonight on my behalf. Jerry asked me to voice my opinions, and we've had several conversations within the last couple of weeks. I've been back out to the county highway garage and the annex and looked at the room shortly after the county purchased the Masonic Lodge. I looked at it also. My first choice would be on the third floor of the annex where the IT office is now. It has 2 doors, like they set up. It'd be very easy for me to move our spray truck or store at the county highway on the off season. Their second choice was the highway department. I feel that I can do I feel as though there's a lot of cosmetic work such as drop ceilings and building walls and carpet, and it would be chopped up for it to go up for options. I have a couple other thoughts, but at this time would like to talk and speak with you guys. This would be my choices, and I do not feel that the Masonic Lodge would be a great fit for my office. Although the move is not perfect, it's something that we will have to deal with, anything in life. And I commend you for trying to find a solution and putting us into a good working environment.
And that's moving her up out of the basement.
Yes.
Right. And so moving people up out of the basement needs to be a priority for us.
It's our priority.
It is, because both the offices have contacted all 3 of us.
Right, but we can move them up out of the basement and still work on another plan that may preserve this building, and Landmarks may be able to help walk us through that.
Okay, you got a guy from Landmark, you say, could he come up and give?
I think one other, before we jump into that, I think one other thing that I would like to see, we do need some type of a meeting room for commissioners and council. Whether that's, if we don't have this building anymore, I think that could be incorporated into the county highway garage very reasonably. And then I want to thank you guys for your work on this.
And they could vote in the county highway garage, because the county highway garage is closed that day. And they could go in the office.
Yeah, they can vote instead of
Over in the cafeteria or whatever they call it.
Yeah, we can use that. Commissioner's room, council's meeting room, as a voting office, because we're, dual purpose, we're obviously going to use it a few times a month.
And we could even use probably the jury room for over in the Justice Center for, and there's
If they move the circuit door, we can use the jury room.
what, here in this building?
Any idea how much a new circuit court costs? You know how much we're talking?
That's what they're going to figure out.
Bring your man up and let him talk.
They're gonna go
He's not my man, but.
I'd like to get a cost estimate on, I think 350 is pretty good for the highway department. I don't think we need an engineer's estimate. I don't think we need to spend the money to get an estimate of what it costs. But that's going to be a little bit more money. Give us an idea what it would cost to do that.
How many contractors, who would you advise?
I don't have an idea on who would need to do that, just an architectural. Well, we just need to get it all, money all right. Just get a monetary idea. Thanks again for putting that plan together.
You want to go ahead and give us your,
Sure, I'm the guy.
you want to introduce yourself?
Todd Zeiger, I'm the director of the Northern Regional Office for Indiana Landmarks, and we've been here before you. Here on behalf of our president, Marsh Davis, who met a few months ago about this matter as well. At the time, we offered at our expense to undertake a study of the courthouse to analyze these various things that you've been talking about tonight, to address life safety issues, address security issues that need to be addressed, take a look at the maintenance backlog, obviously, that's been accumulating on this building, and our offer is still on the table. I forwarded our proposal to the commissioners. I think you all received that via email last week. So you've got that outline. As I said, the study would be from Roland Design, who was the firm that you had worked with to come up with your plans for December. We went to them because we felt that the county had some confidence in their abilities, and so we looked to Roland for this alternative study. Our feeling is strong that we believe that a compromise can be found. I think you began to analyze or talk about some of that, which is get some folks out of the basement, but look at some options for renovation of this building. Nobody says that nothing needs to be done. And so looking at life safety and accessibility, architectural design and the building envelope, all those things, security, structural systems, mechanical, electrical, the whole shebang, as they say. And we feel that a plan could be put together that addresses all those needs and keeps your use in this building. This is an important asset for your community. And having this building, this landmark, go empty is not a positive solution. It's not helpful for the downtown, it's not helpful for the county in our opinion. We just think that having another look at this building and how you could adapt it, renovate it, move some things around, utilize the things that you already have. You mentioned you've got 4 buildings, let's continue to use this one for your uses. That's the best use for a historic courthouse, is continued county use. And so our offer is still on the table, and we're glad to do that. I hadn't received any comments back that we missed anything in what we were looking to have the architect do, but I'm certainly glad to bring that back. And
Yeah, are you waiting on anything? I guess, I saw that today for the first time. That was dated May 2nd between your organization and Roland contract, and it looked comprehensive to me. We had made suggestions back in March, and it looked like you incorporated them all.
We did.
So I was just asking, are you waiting on anything from them? The contract.
We are waiting on an assurance that we're not going to spin our wheels and spend a significant amount of money to create a document that's going to be thrown away. And that's a commitment that if we come up with a practical solution that's affordable for the county, and we respect that, we're not coming in here saying we have to spend $1 zillion. But we want a commitment that if we're going to spend our dollars to work with you as the county officials and the folks that work in this building and your other buildings, that it would be given its due respect and consideration in that. This is not an insignificant amount of money we're going to spend, and you all have spent quite a bit on the study that was presented in December. You're aware of what it costs. I think that you have several ideas tonight you've put out, and that's great. I think that the devil will be in those details of those costs. Adding a second story or a third story or whatever to another building is a significant undertaking, and not one that's done without significant disruption to the folks that are using that facility. And so we would want to have you take a look at that as well, as far as security and undertaking a project like that while that building is being used across the street. So we just would advocate that this building deserves another look. It's an important part of your community's history. It's an important part of your community's life. When people come and go out of here, we need to address the life safety issues, no doubt about that. Some offices need to get moved out fairly quickly. It makes total sense. But we don't feel that an abandoned or an empty building in this location is helpful for the county or the downtown Winnemac. So that's kind of how we're coming at it, and we think we can help with that. So that's really what I had to say. I'm glad to answer questions or just kind of continue.
We're step one, and that is if you get a positive feedback from the commissioners, they're going to look at what you contract for, which we're looking for. Has Roland given you any indication once you sign that contract how much time?
We would get started immediately, and then we would work with the county officials on, because there's a lot of coordination, obviously, with leadership, folks that work in these buildings to get their feedback. So that it will become a high priority for them.
Well, probably months, I would guess.
It'll take some time, but I think that's important rather than just kind of spitballing some numbers on significant construction projects and people's professional vocations. And so it will take some time. We can get back to you. That's a question we could ask about time of completion. It's not years, it's a couple, several months, but I think that's important.
And just to be clear, guys, that Jerry forwarded to me, I don't know if you've seen it, it's a contract between them and Roland Engineering that they're talking about, that incorporated back in March. You guys had given some ideas about what else might be looked at. They incorporated all that into your new contract. It's dated May 2nd. If you haven't seen it, it's in your email probably, and take a look at it, because it's their offer to pay for the study that Rob was going to do, and it covers what we'll do.
I think you need to also, we had a comprehensive study done 3 years ago. I don't know what the architectural firm was. So, they come out here with drones and they did the windows and they put a heating study together and everything, what it cost you. And they actually put a rendition together, just they put an addition to the courthouse, not just a renovation to the courthouse. But I don't know, I know the plans are available, renditions are available, and I think I can come up with the information that they put together, what it would take to get the courthouse. I mean, the total that they had, of course, this is an addition, this included the elevator, I think it was like $7.5 million. That time, this was no addition to the Justice Center at all, just the courthouse.
Yeah, I think any existing plans, we would be interested to look at those. That would help Roland on their way. No reason to reinvent, work that's been done. RC Engineers is the engineering firm that looked at the building as part of that work, and your work you just got done in December would be part of our team as well. So building on that work at that time. And our offer really is, just as I mentioned, and that is to, at our cost, to conduct a thorough investigation and analysis of this building and come up with some plans that would allow it to continue to be used as a county facility. Contemplating, of course, an addition maybe to the Justice Center instead of an addition to this building. That's been many of the conversations I've heard about. Security is a big issue, and that's probably one of the easiest ways to deal with this, keep the, that over there in the Justice Center.
Gary, was there, I know there's an open room in the Justice Center now in the Sheriff's City. But is there room now to move the circuit court there without having to do any addition to the Justice Center?
I don't think so, as long as you keep probation and the prosecutor's office there. I've seen those plans you're talking about, and it just mirrors Superior Court over there, but it doesn't have probation and the prosecutor's office there. And I think this second set even has it. I've seen those with Jeff Johnson.
And it doesn't have the clerk's office over there either. It's just basically just another courtroom, and that's it. Okay, that's what I
And then that
thought.
would move probation prosecutor out of there as well, and you'd have to find a place for that.
And the clerk would not be over there with you.
Correct.
Correct.
The clerk's office is part of the court system, and the clerk's office has to remain with the courts.
I know that.
And if nothing else, if you plan on emptying this building, this is the last office that you move out, because we have to deal with the courts, and we have to deal with prosecutor, probation, and the sheriff's department.
Yeah, I think it's very important that we get those three offices other than Justice Center. I know the sheriff would agree.
Again, going back to Fulton County, when I toured over there 2 weeks ago, the entire justice system, circuit court, superior court, clerk's office, probation, they're all in the old courthouse. They're together.
So we would take a look at the plans, as you mentioned, for the Justice Center that was done, the plans that you mentioned that was completed a few years ago, and work from that basis. And that would be the beginning of our work to see the best fit for the best dollar to allow you to continue. And I would consider, are there other buildings that you don't need to use now that those uses are come in here? It's a little bit of a flip of what you were doing, and I respect that. The annex building, the old school, that site would be, I think, easily marketable, more easily marketable for an alternative use such as housing than this building would be. So one use that I would suggest is perhaps you go the other direction of moving offices from other buildings into this to allow and consolidate. One thing to look at. You're shaking your head no, that's fine. That's kind of sort of the commitment, though, that if we're going to spend our dollars to spend the time to have Roland come and work with you, that it is not just met with a shelf document. It's something we will take seriously. I did notice in the contract there are about 120 hours worth of architectural services from Roland, so it's a significant amount of time, plus conference time with the users of these buildings. So that's gets to your question, what are we looking for? A commitment that this fairly extraordinary offer is going to be met with at least a sincere effort to look at the options.
Well, I think that you met with a sincere effort and meet the options. I guess that, the resistance we got before, why we didn't pursue it was because the taxpayer didn't want to
it was a big
keep
number.
property tax.
Sure.
We were going to piggyback that onto the Justice Center bond that we had, and we were going to have to still get, permission from the state to do that because that was a special, tax that we had, income tax that we had to get that accomplished. But we just ran into resistance from the taxpayer. That's why commissioners are where they're at, trying to get a more, cost-effective
Sure.
way to get the job done, and it doesn't include the courthouse, it's just a very expensive, undertaking to do what we need to do to keep this going. I think that's why they did what they did, and I appreciate the efforts there. So I guess from our standpoint, I don't know that we can give you that answer. It would be very nice to have an idea of where we need to be with the courthouse and keep it going, but we had our public hearings before, and the public was just dead set against it, they didn't want to keep that.
Well,
tax.
I think the public was dead set against the cost and wanted to see if it could be revised
I think,
down.
yeah, I think, one of the things at that time was the fact that it was the cost of renovating the courthouse and then putting the addition on. The addition was a significant part of that cost, and a lot of the concern was the fact that, as has been stated, we have other buildings that have space to be utilized and stuff, and there was a lot of push that we could utilize that space in a better way. I don't know that we had a direct cost of, and it was like I said,
About $3.5 to $5 million.
Yeah, so it's like $3.5 to
Just
$5 million just for the courthouse, yeah, which would be relatively significant less cost because it was about, if I remember right, around $8.5 million for the whole project, but that was soft costs. The hard costs were higher than that.
That was pretty much the entire cost, was $7.8 million to get everything done. That included, legal counsel.
Yeah,
That was their estimate. That
yeah.
wasn't bid out or anything, but that was their estimate.
But,
Well, I think the public is here tonight to support the plan from the
well,
plan boards.
no,
So
and I think that,
I make a motion that the county council write a letter in support of Indiana Historic Landmarks.
I'll second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second to give a letter of support to Landmarks to do their work, do their study. What do you want? Any discussion on that? Because we do need to know what you want in that letter. I mean, obviously, everybody's in favor of finding that out, but
Well, I think
where are we going to give them after if they find
before they do hard work, before they spend their money and Roland Design does their studies and everything, they need to know that we're going to back them, that we're going to actually seriously look at this. It doesn't mean that's necessarily the end thing.
Right.
There is
I think-
negotiation.
Yeah, we'll definitely seriously look at it.
well, I think we have to.
Well, I
we have
don't
to
think
give
that that's necessarily true, Jay, because we've got people over here shaking their heads. They've made up their minds. They made up their minds last week when they said publicly they were going to close this building. Now, they've taken no vote.
There was nothing ever.
They've never met, according to them, they've never met and taken any kind of vote. So how do they know they're going to support or not support this?
Well, we've got a motion and a second to sign a letter of approval
One thing that I want to say
to the
is,
council anyway.
kind of even goes back to other things that we're doing in the county. We need to have good data to make good decisions.
Yes.
And I think it'd be very difficult for us to do the county justice on both sides. Once again, I commend the commissioners for looking for alternatives because, like I said, this started a long time ago, and unfortunately, it didn't happen at that time, and there's been others that have looked at it, other commissioners and councils have come up with other plans. And I think without giving everybody their fair chance, which we have two sides. We have a side that says, it's not economical, and this building will never be as economical as what we can build a new building. And all that's pretty much a given. I know that from industry and building buildings and being involved. But once again, we have people that are in favor of this, and we have to give them their time too. So I think, we have an obligation to the total community that's on both sides to look at both sides with fair and open mind. Now, can we commit to either side that we're going to say yes or no? No, I will not do that. If that's a motion to say, I'm going to go with, no, I know. But if there's a motion saying I'm going to go with this plan or that plan, that I'm not at a point to say. I'm here to give everybody their fair shake and listen to them and give the community a fair chance on both options.
That's fair.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor to give a letter of support to Indiana Landmarks to proceed with their proposal in order to look at the courthouse. Any more discussion? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries.
Now saying that,
I would think that the commissioners would also need to put a motion.
We can't.
Support for that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's, we're just one body.
Hey, how come our courthouse is yellow and everybody else's is white?
The stone that it was constructed with.
Okay.
Limestone.
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 Because over there, Jasper County, you know, there's a white, and then, you know.
Oh, I see some that are like a red color too.
Yeah.
Marshall County's like a red color?
Yeah.
It works red.
Right.
So,
Yeah,
yeah,
the ones is red.
Different kind of stone.
this is where it's for. I'll bring it.
That being said, and that motion being made and acted upon doesn't mean that we can't proceed getting costs with the other things that you were wanting to do. But I think Ken is right, we need to look at all the options. And we owe it to this community to see if it is feasible to maintain this courthouse. And we owe it to our taxpayers to not have this courthouse standing empty if at all possible.
I do not see that we should have this courthouse standing empty. I mean, I realize that it's a historic monument, but we either need to renovate it and fix it up and get it so that we can keep it for another 50 to 100 years, if we can do that, which is what the other outfit we're talking about. Or tear it down. You can't just leave it standing the option.
And it will cost millions to tear it down.
It's gonna cost money to tear it down too, right? I mean, that's my take on it. Jerry, did you guys wanna, Ken, do you guys wanna make get a
Well, I
lot
wanna
of
know
support
if
for
we
what
don't
we're
do this, you know, if we go with you, you know, and you give us a thing and we don't take your proposal, what's gonna be the end result?
Well, we can't guarantee we're
I
gonna
mean,
go
I
with
you
you.
wanna guarantee that
ask
you're
them
gonna.
if there's consideration of the data so that we can bring it to you. You know, sometimes studies are done and they're accepted and then they're never considered, and that's my concern. I was not asking for you to say, okay, whatever you say, we're gonna do that. It was not my intent.
Well, we want to
Cross
be
that way, I don't
feasible
want that.
because, you know,
As I said in my
not
email.
feasible, why?
Correct, as I said in my email to you, cost effective is important, we've heard that. And we understand that, and we've heard, you know, your comments about the expense of the previous edition or previous study years ago. So it's taking all of that into consideration. And there was going to be money spent to do something. And various ideas have come up. There needs to be some good data to some of these ideas you put out there today. And the logistics of that as well, I would suggest. So.
How long will it take you to do this? 4 or 5?
The architect has 120 hours in his contract, and then some conference time with you and your staff that will need to be made available. So, you know, that's going to take a couple of months, I'm sure. Yeah, it just takes time to do it right, and so that's the idea.
But we could proceed with moving those basement offices out of the basement. I mean, that could be done.
I'm gonna make a motion to attack it.
Will they do core drilling and stuff? Because it seems like there's been lines leaking underneath these buildings to see if the dirt needs moved out.
So RC Engineers, who you retained last with your study that was presented in December, is the same architectural or engineering firm that will be on this team, and they'll be the ones doing the engineering, looking at the exterior of the building and that sort of thing. I can't say the core drilling, that wasn't done on your previous proposals, but certainly looking at all the aspects of the renovation.
Well, I could see that the hole underneath needs dug out and clean fill brought in. And that's when
I respect you know, that idea. I'll bring that up to the architects and the engineers and have them verify that with you, whether that's, you know, something they need to look at further. So when they get with you, make sure you bring that up.
And I assume Rollins has been sharing the photos that I've been sending for different things.
Yeah, they'll coordinate all of that.
The interior wall and the sensor wall, put some crack in the circuit cord and
Yeah, all that information they have or will have, yeah, because they were working with you previously. So absolutely.
right now it's brought to my attention, well, right in here, the floor to the ceiling, I can almost stick my hand in that onwards. Same thing.
As I said, there are needs that need to be addressed, and we're just suggesting that we spend some time, do another look at it, and then come back to you and help you with that information. Absolutely.
10 minutes.
I guess I'll make the motion that we go ahead and Rollins, give us a study, but we need to,
I don't have a problem with discussion. Second.
got a motion second, all signify by saying aye. Aye, motion carries.
Thank you for your time and for your listening to us. I appreciate it. We'll be in touch to coordinate with you and the council members of who you would like to have work with our team. And that includes staff that we need to be talking with as well. So thank you for your time. I appreciate letting me sit at the table and listen to our
We don't charge.
conversation. Yeah, I got
Well, I think in the meantime, Jerry, that you guys, the commissioners, can get some, and I know that we can't get exact amounts, how much the money to be exact, but you get a pretty good idea what the cost is gonna be, you know,
Justice Center.
within 10%, I mean, easily, the Justice Center, doing work on that.
You can share that.
Where we're
Did you get
at.
that? We'd be interested in that information. If you get that as well, that'd be helpful.
Okay.
Thank you.
And that they have the reference from the previous plan.
Yeah, who should we be in touch with for all these other plans? I've been trying to get the ones that were the 7.8 for a while. Who's the best contact person?
I think Jerry B&T.
Jerry.
I think Jerry should be the.
It's always helpful to have a
I've got
person.
my project of hand right now, I'll let all these other gentlemen.
Well, somebody needs to facilitate.
That's got all that number.
Nathan, do you have time for that?
I don't know if I got time, but I do have the 2016 plan with all lost calculations.
Yeah, or facilitate the
Oh, yeah.
blueprints and things like that to them. You can do that. It's you or me, buddy. You do it. Yes, sir.
That's why we have the questions. I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
you look like you would.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for your time. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
One other thing, we're running out of time, but I know Mia, what'd you do, text or email me today? Here's some pictures that were taken, some of the work that needs done for this existing courthouse. Thank you, Mia, for that, appreciate it.
There's a lot of work to be done. I think we'll just table this until we table the rest of it, but all except.
Could I ask a question before we adjourn the joint meeting? Do you guys intend on doing anything about in the interim about security? Security? Like making one point of entry with courthouse?
We're gonna wait until we get here from the National Registry.
Okay.
There's no sense in putting the cart before.
Well,
the
we could make one point of entry tonight. in my point.
Well, you'd have to lock the other doors.
Correct.
You know,
Correct. Yes, we could do that tonight.
because he may come up with a whole other different plan.
Probably will.
That's why I say there's no sense in putting the cart before the horse.
Okay, I just don't want you guys screaming security, security, because you've got 7 entries in the building.
If you want to,
You can lock it tonight.
do you want to have some public comment, Kenny, real quick? Put a time limit on it.
I don't know if anybody wanted to make any public comment.
Well, make it quick, public comment, if there's any public comment.
About anything in particular? I want to say thank you, Mia, for a flagpole.
Okay, well, good. And having,
There's my public
you
comment.
got your flag. Having,
And Mia got us a flagpole, so it works.
All I would ask is that you let the public look at the facts. We'd like to have the facts and the figures so that we're not just working with conjecture and opinions. And we ask that you guys you city leaders, keep an open mind. Let the man, provide us with a proposal in addition to y'all's proposals, and then we can lay them all together as a group and as a public and look at those and see which one is best for all of us. But I really think it's important that we come to this with an open mind.
well, I think we'll handle like we did last time before we do anything, we'll have public hearings on everything. We had public hearings with the other building before we did anything. I mean, the public basically didn't want to do it. Because it was cost ineffective for the county to do that.
But they would have done a smaller project. They would have looked at a smaller project.
I think the thing that we have to remember is something has to be done now. There is no, whether it's small, big, medium, or large, some kind of a decision has to be made on how we're going to organize the offices within the community, within the county, and be responsible to the taxpayers at the same time, because can't leave things as status quo.
Is there any office holders want to say anything? Cindy, you want to say something?
Well, The assessor's office definitely would like to be moved out of the basement ASAP. There wasn't a decision made here, so maybe
Yes.
it will be made.
No, they made that
You're gonna
motion
make
to
that-
move you out.
He's gonna make that motion.
Well, I don't know, actually.
Anybody else?
Anybody else wanna make a comment before we go?
I wanna know what he was gonna come up with. He had a paper with some numbers on it, and it looked like we were going to hear it, and then everybody turned back away from him.
He's gonna work with the guy from
I was just noting that I do have the documents from 2016, and very roughly, the cost just to redo the courthouse based on those numbers and adjusting for inflation, now that we know we don't need an addition to the courthouse, the elevator has been built and the attic truss work has been done, all hard and soft costs before interest would be about 5.3 million. Very rough based on those numbers. Now, I can't say that something else wouldn't be discovered, and that's why professionals are gonna be looking at it, but based on the 2016 numbers, and then depending on whether we're a 15 or 20-year bond issue, we'd be looking at a total project cost of $6.5 to $7.5 million paid out over 15 to 20 years.
Yeah, I think.
And that doesn't include that doesn't include anything on the Justice Center if we decide we would like to have our clerk and our circuit court in the same building as the rest of the justice system.
What does that come up annually then, Nathan? You got all the figures?
$450,000 a year.
Okay, Rudy, what was it again?
What?
A year to lease the building?
100,000.
That seems fairly simple.
Don't look at me, I don't pay taxes in this
I
county.
know, I'm just saying.
I just work here.
Well, we've got one existing building.
I know what you're saying there, I was just saying though.
You have a flat roof on County Highway, which is an issue with a lot of people that I'm around anyway, we discuss. Is the roof flat at the County Highway garage, Terry?
Pardon me?
Is your roof flat at the County Highway garage?
Yeah, at least I can see them when it rains.
See, those are the issues you're gonna run into there, I don't know.
it wasn't raining.
Okay, any further comment, Dan?
Lynn.
I'd just like to make it clear with the county commissioners and the council that the Pulaski County Historical Society has no interest now, nor will it ever, with the Pulaski County.
We was gonna give it to you, honey, because we thought you wanted to be the mayor.
I thought Steve and Lynn wanted to move in.
She's got a big house, she knows how to fill it up, I've seen it.
Your neighbors could come.
Okay, Jerry, you have something?
Yeah, if there's no more public comment, I'm gonna make a motion.
I want to make a comment. I want to commend both boards for having the guts to finally come up with something to do something.
Yes.
And I think all of you sitting at that table ought to be commended for taking this step forward.
I agree.
Thanks, Lucky.
Well, thank you. I don't know that we had a choice though, actually, because there's something needs to be done. Thank you.
We're just trying to make everybody happy. The taxpayers don't want taxes raised, the people that love the courthouse don't wanna move. You're caught between a rock and a hard spot.
That's
What do you
the
do?
bill. Exactly, what do you do?
Well, people don't wanna move, they're taxpayers too.
Collect
You gotta pay something.
collect the information, look at the data, and make an informed.
Yes, sir.
Is there a drop dead date on the security of the building?
No.
No.
I mean, is that a law that it has to be
No.
secure?
It's not a
It
law.
was years ago.
It was years ago?
Years ago.
So,
Well, we've got
why
time.
can't we lock, keep one door open or something? I agree with Brian.
Is
Why
there an
keep them all
issue?
open?
This is my question.
Because
Where's the
you have to
issue
keep
at?
open the handicap door for down in the basement.
That's the one.
That'd be the one you have to keep open. I'm sure people going to the auditor's office don't wanna walk all the way through there and.
Got a nice elevator now, Mike.
Well, at least we'd have a secure
Everybody can ride the
entrance.
elevator.
We're gonna table this till, they get back with us and we'll discuss all this. Jerry, you had a motion you wanted to make before we?
Yeah, I'm gonna make a motion now to move the surveyor's office over to the annex and IT room.
The assessor and the surveyor.
Surveyor. Effective immediately, that move will not cost any money. Very little money.
It would cost money, but.
Little money. And then, as well as moving the assessor's office to a location to be determined very soon.
How about this office?
It's a possibility, but I'm not gonna commit to that. Will not commit to that now.
What office are you talking about?
Oh, the assessor's office. To be determined, assessor's office.
I second it.
I got a motion and a second, all signify by saying aye. Aye, motion carried.
Girls?
I make a motion to adjourn the.
So moved. I got a motion and a second to adjourn, all in favor say aye. Aye, motion carried.
Okay, we want to, anybody want to take a recess or let's start council another way?